Alright, so we're back once again, and today we're going to be going... It's a more of a gameplay style video today. We're going to be discussing the Yamato, the tier 10 IGN BB, the ship with the biggest guns in the game, the Yamato. And I cannot begin to tell you how excited I was to get this ship. I've only got it like, I think a couple of days ago, or I think yesterday or the day before. So I've only had like 4 or 5 battles in it. And I still have a hell of a lot to learn, but so far it's been a little bit frustrating and a little bit incredibly enjoyable. And the main reason for that is these guns are so goddamn accurate. I wasn't actually expecting it. Now, I've played other ships. I played ships with incredibly accurate guns. I played the Warships, the Thunder. I've played spammy ships like the Smolensk. But this ship is unique. I haven't really bumped into something like this in a long time. The guns are so accurate that it actually makes me shoot worse, if that makes sense. You know that way when you sandbag and you kind of expect, if you're playing another ship, that because the dispersion's so bad or the sigma's bad, that you kind of expect to get a lucky shell to hit someone on the ship. This doesn't happen with the Yamato. If your aim is off at all, you're not going to hit your target. And there's going to be several examples in this game of just that exact thing happening. But with that being said, I think this ship has a massive payoff. And we'll see that towards the end where I fix my aim a little bit and it pays off hugely. That being said though, we are on, I don't know what this map is, but we're slowly steaming in. Again, the Yamato isn't the tankiest of ships, so you have to play it a little bit more passively. It reminds me of Royal Navy battleships, to be honest. You're kind of hanging back in the backline to an extent. But that being said, you may see I'm pushing up quite a little bit too far, and most of that reason is because our Shimikaze's AFK. And I'm hoping that by me pushing up the battleship line a little bit, our cruisers will push a little bit more forward, and we'll get some spotting on some ships so I can actually open fire. But with that being said, I'm trying to create an opinion on this ship from like the 6 or 7 games I've played so far. Listen to that gun sound. It sounds beautiful. But I'm kind of in between. On the one hand, it almost has like a mythic status about it. You know, the Yamato, the biggest guns, 460mm guns, you know? But at the same time, it's... when you get it, there's almost like a letdown. You know, it does feel very strong, but at the same time, it doesn't feel like, you know, the god tier guns are coming. That being said, some of the shots in this game will probably feel like god tier shots. And as you can see, I'm getting pinged to get back, but at the same time, I recognize that I'm overextended a bit. Our Shimikaze comes back from being AFK. So that means I don't need to push this far anymore. And our cruisers are already pushing back, so it's time for me to turn out also. I'm a little bit worried about the curve first, actually using some AP, but I've seen his recent most salvos HE, so I'm expecting him to keep using HE. And he does. So that's good. And again, the thing about this ship is that because the shells are so accurate, I'm taking a hell of a lot of damage here. But we do get a 21k salvo, which is pretty decent. But because the shells are so accurate, it's really good at long range, really good at medium range, and even really good at short range. Although on this ship, you don't really want to be going short range all that much. Because, yeah, the back end of it is kind of like a Citadel City, so to speak. So yeah, it's not a curve first by any stretch of the imagination. So mostly you're going to be doing your shooting from long range, medium range. And I kind of adapt that throughout, well, there goes that Yugamo. I kind of adapt that throughout the game. Again, this is still a learning process for me. So I'm kind of trying to figure out how the Yamato fits into the team the best way. But that's slowly coming along. I'm slowly developing, slowly trying different things, different playstyles, different aiming angles obviously. As you'll see here, I get overpenned, so I probably aimed a little bit too high. I didn't take into account the angle of the ship as much as I should have. So again, we're just pulling away, Again, we're trying to get medium to long range, about 14 kilometers. That's the kind of at the point medium range takes over from short range. And we try to get the killing blow on the curve first, but we run out of time, and he dies to the flooding of the Shimakaze. So with that being said, we're down 2 DDs and a cruiser to their 1 battleship and a DD. So the game isn't looking all that great. We're also down 2 caps, by the way, making this game incredibly difficult. They do have control both the flanks, but the one thing I like about their formation, well, the one thing I don't like about their formation is that they're very split up. So if I can control this kind of center area, which IGN BBs are really good at, you know, things like the Fuso, the Nagato, they're really good at holding that center line if the enemy team splits down both the flanks, and then you can shoot and nail people from both sides on their broadside. So that was the kind of thinking I was going with at this point in the game. As you see right here now, because I'm in the center of the map, any attempt for the enemy team to push the flanks, I can punish immediately. And another thing that plays into this is that my aim needs to be good though. That's the point. If your aim is bad, no amount of good positioning will make up for that. Because my position is pretty decent right now. You know, I can get broadsides on probably either flank, but if the aim's bad, what's the point? You're just basically a floating chunk of metal doing nothing. So with that being said, we're going to go try and hold out the left hand flank. It's been suffering a little bit too much. We finally see the Montana creeping in at around 15 kilometers. So we do need to take that into consideration for any major turns. And again, the thing that kind of surprised me a bit, to be honest, is that there's 2 things I look for on the outside of like the gun caliber and stuff like that on the ship. When I look at the guns, I compare 2 things, and then I make a very rash decision on them. Is that turret reverse and rudder shift are 2 of the most important characteristics on a battleship. Mostly just for this reason, is that if you have a target that pops up, you want to be able to get your guns on them extremely quickly. Now, if your rudder shift is bad, that means you can't swing your ship around to get the guns on. But this can be compensated by having good turret traverse. So it doesn't matter if you're in an awkward position, your guns can rotate and you can fire. If you have bad turret traverse, well then, if you have good rudder shift, then the ship can compensate. You can actually swing the ship around to get the guns on target, and then you can, bam, go to Pound Town. But if both are bad, which, in comparison to other ships, they are in the Yamato. Although I haven't got the legendary upgrade yet, so that might fix that to an extent. I haven't actually looked into that. If you have that, those 2 bad things, then it's going to make it, you have to be really, really on point with how you position your ship. More so than other ships, because you actually have to have the angle at which your ship is pointing at be extremely good. Because you can clearly see here, like, these turrets are barely moving. You know, this isn't a Kremlin where the turrets are just laser pointers. But that being said, the gun caliber almost, well, it does make up for it, obviously. They're the largest guns in the game, until the Yashima comes out, obviously. That'll have 20-inch guns, I think. Not entirely sure yet. But anyways, for now, the Yamato is obviously the biggest guns in the game. And we finally get the first Citadel off the game. And at this point in the game, I'm starting to learn a little bit more. I'm starting to be more effective with my aim. I'm starting to get a feel for how the ship works. And this was kind of the same scenario that happened with the Izumo. It took me a little while to really kind of figure out, you know, the angles, the best angles for the Izumo, as, oh my god, I can't even pronounce it, Izumo. And, you know, the Yama plays the same way to an extent, but it's at the same time, it feels like a completely different ship. Mostly probably because of the turret layout and stuff like that. But yeah, the guns definitely take a while to get used to, and I'm slowly getting the hang of them right now. Again, with that being said, we're down 2 caps still. We've lost 5 ships, they've lost 5, so the game's fairly even. Actually, it's dead even. Holy moly. Well, except for we're down about 50 points, but other than that, it's not all that much of a difference. And at this point, I see something beautiful. That just made my day. I see a broadside Edinburgh who has no idea to change course. He must have no idea that I'm actually aiming at him. And he has no idea that 9 shells, 160 mils, are coming straight at him. No, 460 mils are coming straight at him. And he gets citadeled. And beautifully. That's what I love. Now, if my aim had been better, as we eat a massive salvo from the Montana, that probably would have been a detonation. And it's a part of that iteration process that you have to go through, constantly adjusting your aim up and down until you get something that works. And you get enough game time in so that you can know, you can recognize the angles at which the ship is actually presenting, so you can adjust your aim accordingly and then get those citadels like we got on the Montana just there right now. And there is no real compensation for having actual game time in the ship. As you see, the Edinburgh pops his head back out now, and we're just going to finish him off with a quick little pop. Now at this point I have a decision to make. I can either A, turn towards B and head back to my team, or B, I can go to A and protect the cap. Now at this point I look on the map, I see the Montana about to die obviously to the Richelieu, and he does, but I also see the Richelieu sailing full broadside, and I'm protected in front of me from the Yamato, so I decide to hold my position. It was option C. At this point, I'm fine taking a fight with a Richelieu bow in. That makes my day, because I'm pretty sure I can overmatch her bow. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure I can overmatch her bow. She shoots a bit too far ahead of me, and we get about 6k on the salvo. And this is where the fact that you have to actually listen to your team comes in really key. You can probably look at the chat, and I'm saying like I'm new to the ship. And I say I can't teleport obviously. So I'm committed at this point. I have to go to A. Later on in the messages, they said the gearing is really low. So that gives me the freedom to actually push in. Plus the fact that I just dodged these torps, so that gives me even more freedom to actually extend myself into the cap. And now, at the same time, the Richelieu is making a decision, do I go to B to defend B, or do I go to A, because the Geary is defending A already. And he decides to go to B. Now, what he didn't anticipate, that I was going to push and expose him to a hell of a lot of pain. Now, not this time, obviously. I'm still adjusting. But in about 14 seconds, he's going to witness something pretty magical. Wait for it. $20k salvo. See that quick little adjustment? Really pays off on this ship that you... And that was a bit of an underwhelming thing, wasn't it? Now, maybe this will be more of your flavor. It's not every day you see 2 battleships going full broadside. I think that was more like it. I think that was a new and improved aim. So that being said, that basically the Richelieu's dead. The Yama's basically, gonna smack me with a massive salvo also. Now you'll notice here something interesting. I aim roughly pretty well at the exact same point on the enemy Yamato, but it doesn't hit. And that's because he's moving, and I forgot to take that into consideration. But now, maybe that'll give you an idea of just how aim sensitive this ship is, because of how accurate the guns are. And again, all the time I'm communicating with my team. Okay, we need to cap A, we need to just hold A. It's fine, I'll go bow in against the enemy Yamato. Hopefully it won't actually hit me. Do all that much damage. At this point I have about 11k left, so I really need to be considerate of how I actually take damage. So I take a 2.5k salvo there, and at this point he can only use his back gun, which is 3 shells. I decided to start using HE just to test it out, you know. Why not try everything that the ship has to offer? It wasn't very effective, so I immediately switched back to AP. Now at this point I know the Gearing's behind that island. But I know that he's so low that my secondaries will probably kill him if I spot him. So that's why I'm just sitting here trying to cap this island, because I know if I cap this point we win the game. But if I die and the Gearing lives, then we're probably going to lose. But with that, the Yama goes down, making our position even stronger. And as you can see, I'm just accelerating a little bit forward, just so I can get the guns turned if he decides to just YOLO it. Now at this point, probably the best scenario would be for the Gearing to actually YOLO it, or at least to long range torp me. Because if he can get me killed, he resets the cap, and then he's free to go and harass North Carolina or the Richelieu. But at this point the game's pretty much decided, because the Charge Martel's not long for this world, versus, especially against 2 battleships like that. So with that being said, I capped A, my job's done, my game's basically over. Mostly due to the fact that I can't really chase the Gearing. He's probably going to torp me and I'm going to die. But yeah, we got all 3 caps. We're in a really commanding spot, and there's very little left to do. So what I kind of want to do now is just kind of have a discussion on how this compares to other tier 10s that I've had. Like, I've got the Gearing, I got the Minotaur, I got the Conqueror, as Here Comes Death, but I don't know, Yama felt strangely meh to an extent, you know? And maybe I just built it up too much in my head, like, you know, a lot of people do with ships. But, like, I feel a little bit underwhelmed, even though I can see how much power it has. You know, I did 218k in this game. But at the same time, I feel like I haven't unlocked the true Yamato yet, you know? And I think that's going to come with practice, especially with the aiming part. Positioning, you know, that's not too much importance, but the aiming is really important in this ship. So, to sum it all up, is that if you don't know how to aim, do not get this ship. You will not have a good time. You will literally rip your head out trying to figure out how to aim at this ship. But with that being said, let me know how you feel. If you have the Yamato, let me know what you think. Maybe give me some aiming tips. If you liked this video, you can subscribe or not. If you liked it, you can like it. Or if you hated it, leave me an angry comment. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.